Madam Speaker, Krystal Mousseau's life mattered. She is dearly missed by her friends, family, and her children. We now know, of course, that the government will not call an inquest into her death, but new information is coming to light from the critical incident investigation into her death, and this information is very concerning. The company contracted to transport Krystal out of province used staff that did not have the proper training and used vehicles that did not have the right equipment to care for ICU patients. I'll table a document that lays this out. Does the Premier agree that a team transporting ICU patients should have the necessary training and equipment to do so safely?
The Honourable First Minister.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And before I get to the member's question, I just wanted to say that sometimes it's we need to remember that we need to take time to celebrate our kids. And last night it was a proud mom moment for me. It was a proud parent moment for both my husband and I when we were at a hockey rink in Selkirk, and Tommy and his high school hockey team were playing the St. Paul's Crusaders, and they defeated the Westwood Warriors to become the Manitoba Provincial High School Hockey Champions. Madam Speaker, I just want to congratulate Tommy, all his team members, and the coach Andrew Harder for their victory last night. Madam Speaker, it's an exciting day for our family, and just thank you for the opportunity to say a few words about that, Madam Speaker. What I will say, Madam Speaker, with respect to this, of course, I did, the member opposite asked these questions yesterday.
The member's time has expired.
Well, as you can imagine, the Premier's reply yielded quite the reaction on social media. For more on that exchange and the calls for an inquest into Krystal Mousseau's death, we're joined in studio here now by Manitoba NDP leader Wab Kinew. Wab, thanks for being with us. We just played what went down on Wednesday when you raised numerous concerns over Mousseau's death in the Manitoba legislature and questioned Premier Heather Stefanson about it. What do you use her response about congratulating her son's hockey team? What does that say to you?
Well, I think I would just go back to how I responded at the time. Immediately after the clip that you shared, what I shared there is what I would say now. And that is that for Krystal Mousseau's children, they won't have their mom present for their big life moments, for their milestones. And that's why we need to keep pushing for answers into what happened. And so we've continued to ask about the issues that have come to light so far, which show that they didn't have the proper equipment in the vehicle, that they didn't have the right training in place to care for somebody coming out of an intensive care unit, as Krystal Mousseau was. And then that begs this whole other set of questions about how is it that the government was hiring companies without those things in place, and what sort of standards were there? At the end of the day, I think Manitobans, I think people of all walks of life should be very, very interested in finding the answers so that we can get some justice for Krystal Mousseau.
You're touching on some of the things there, but a critical incident report into Mousseau's death was completed. Aside from what you've been saying, and what does stand out for you from that report?
Well, you know, what really jumps out at me is that mistakes were made in the care of Krystal Mousseau. And we have to remember what was happening at the time. May 2021 in Manitoba, you know, our province was dealing with a third wave that was just really, really terrible. And Manitoba, unfortunately, became the first province to send ICU patients to other jurisdictions because we didn't have the ability to care for them here at home. So then when we get to Krystal Mousseau's case, within that environment, within that situation, now we learn of an ICU patient who's being moved, mistakes were made in her care, and ultimately this woman passed away. It's very tragic, and I think we should all want to learn the truth of what happened so that we can hopefully avoid similar tragedies in the future, but also very importantly to get accountability and to understand the truth of what happened to Krystal Mousseau.
You and others have been calling for an inquest. What could an inquest tell us?
Well, an inquest can really look at the systemic failures. And so when we look here, there is clearly a system failure. When we have a government that is forced to transport ICU patients, and then that government is hiring companies that are maybe not using the right staffing, training, not using the right equipment, that seems like a failure. And in this case, we deserve to understand the truth of what happens and try to arrive at some semblance of justice for Krystal.
Well, we'll have to leave it there. Appreciate you taking some time for us here.
Okay, miigwech.